Hey, what's up? Hello, Super Simpson. Welcome back to another episode of SimplyPodLogical, a simply Nailogical podcast.
Hello. Happy Taco Tuesday, everyone.
Happy Taco Tuesday. Today we just wanted to do a little lighthearted life update.
Low-key Taco Tuesday.
Low-key Taco Tuesday. And just let everyone know that we got vaccinated. We're vaccinated.
Hot taco vac summer.
Are you ready for a hot... We don't have to pay for internet anymore because we're 5G.
Yeah.
You know, the internet just like comes out of us. Actually, maybe we should share with the audience that we're magnetized now.
Jesus Christ.
Not sure.
Help, Ben, I'm stuck to the microphone.
So yeah, maybe we'll just tell people what's going on there.
Yeah,
so
like
we just
real
only
life
recently got the second vaccine, the second shot, one of the mRNA ones. Kind of felt sick a couple days after that, but it's such a relief to kind of feel like we have that now. And it kind of got us thinking about like, are we gonna like change up our routines and stuff? Are we actually gonna leave the house now?
Because for so long, for like a year and a half, I just kind of was just living in this lull of life where I was kind of in a void
depressing.
Where I didn't know what was next. And I guess I kind of accepted the reality of like, yeah, I'm not going to an office. I'm not leaving the house. We're not traveling. I'm not seeing family. And that's just the way it's going to be. Like I just lived in that space for so long that now I don't know how to leave it.
Yeah, for so long, I think we were sort of like thinking about like, oh, just wait until we're vaccinated. But now that it's done, it's like, what's actually going to change? So like, maybe we should tell people like, so we live in Ontario, province
Ottawa,
in Canada.
La capitale du Canada.
And things aren't like completely open or anything like that. But we are starting to see people, you know, eating on patios and non-essential businesses letting people in limited capacity with like distancing and things like that.
But that's only just started very recently. And I think only in 2 weeks or so from now will inside dining actually begin to be allowed again in Ontario.
That's right. So they're reopening gyms and indoor dining very soon. So that is kind of like the last step before, I guess, what it would mean to actually just reopen things.
And I think a lot of my followers are surprised by that because I know that most of my audience is from the States. So everything is kind of happened a lot faster in terms of fast tracking, like access to vaccine in the States and things reopening or just already staying open in the States. So a lot of my American audience is like surprised to hear that you guys can't eat in a restaurant still. Like that's weird. So I understand that people are like, what still? But yeah, like it's true. We've been like in a basic lockdown for
a long time. Yeah.
Half a year or more. It kind of went in and out of lockdown in our province, which was another issue.
Yeah. And I guess we don't want to get too political about it, but like our province, the leader of the province got a lot of heat, a lot of criticism for how they handled the pandemic. And I think deservedly so, because I think looking back on this in history books, it will be able to sort of point out like some of the things that worked and some of the things that didn't. And I feel like there were a lot of choices made about like restricting access to like outdoor public spaces and golf courses that was like totally inconsequential, when we'll know it was like spread was happening in businesses because people weren't staying home when they were sick. And like there's some obvious things here, right? But
I was just merely like painting a picture for our American audience who had just can't fathom that we've basically been in lockdown for like a year and a half.
Well, I think the biggest difference is that we haven't really had access to vaccines as quickly as the US did, right?
That's right.
Honestly, Canada started getting more vaccine supply after Americans started to be hesitant to get vaccinated.
Well, yeah, once it kind of reached a saturation point where everyone in the States who wanted a second or a first shot had already had the opportunity, but like passed on it, that's when we saw vaccine supply in Canada kind of increase.
Yeah, so we very quickly, I think Canada got into a place where a significant portion of the population has gotten at least their first shot.
Yes.
And for a long time, they were telling people to wait months before getting the second one.
And that was us.
And we were in that group too, right? So we got our first shot, well, only a couple months, not even 2 months ago, actually.
Yeah.
But once we started getting more vaccine, they were able to accelerate the second booking, right? So what that looked like for us was like getting onto a government website at 8 a.m. in line with like 100,000 other people
to try and reserve our
to try
spot.
to reserve.
It was like a limited edition drop. Okay, that was the hype.
It's like waiting for a new Holo Taco collection.
Exactly. Like I was texting
slot.
my coworkers just because people who are local to me were like, "Are you on the website?" Yeah, I'm number whatever in line. Am I gonna get in? What date did you get? Like, it was kind of crazy.
We couldn't just buy our way to the front of the line. It was
Nope.
kind of shocking.
Shocking. Well, yeah. I don't think that's how it was in the States though either, was it?
I don't know. I know there were Canadians who were like flying to Florida
To get
at
it
the
early.
beginning to get it early,
Yeah.
right? Although I'm not sure if they put a stop to that or not.
Yeah. But anyways, we are vaccinated fully with our second dose, but we kind of fought and woke up really early to get that second dose earlier. We would have been waiting, I think, until September if we didn't change or try and look for an earlier date for the second
And I should
shot.
say I barely felt I've heard some people say like they got really sick or their arm was like very sore. I didn't feel much of anything at all, to be
I
honest.
was
Like
pretty bad.
yeah, like I had a pretty bad headache for a little bit, but nothing that bad.
So here's a fun anecdote. It hurt me because my arm, like I guess my muscles are more sensitive to it. And I'm in the middle of swatching right now for an upcoming Holo Taco collection. And so my arm hurt for a couple days when I was trying to like swatch, like the worst timing. But again, we just took whatever appointment that was the earliest that was available to us. So it wasn't something I was even planning. Like that just did not line up as ideally as I would like, but
Yeah. You are your own boss, You could just call in sick to work. You just leave a voicemail for yourself.
The swatches must go on,
Swatch.
Ben.
Have you told people the date? It was Holo Taco's anniversary, technically on July 6th.
Yes.
Holo Taco has existed for more than 2 years now.
Holo Taco is a 2-year-old baby.
Seriously, it's I can't believe it's been that long. That's wild, right?
I know. 2 full years. 42 nail polishes. Why don't I know this number off the top of my head? I counted it when I had to mix them, but we've, something like that. And we're working on our next big launch, which is going to be the anniversary collection. Mm-hmm. And I'm so excited. We're planning a lot of things around it, but this one being our anniversary is going to be a little more special and a little more interesting. We're working with YouTube actually on a couple live streams related to the anniversary launch.
Yeah.
And we're also doing some cool website updates just for it. And then in terms of like me and my time, I've been spending a lot of time in the last month with those things I just listed, but also creating like the photos, the videos, and the assets, everything behind it, and just all the work that goes into the launch. And I guess I have to give you something in terms of a sneak peek for what it is that's,
is this
that's
the Simply
coming out.
Detective watching? Or?
So the collection, there will be a collection box, but it will be a different size and shape than all the boxes you're used to.
Okay.
And
no more.
And the Holo Taco team's like, stop. And it will have another function.
I don't even know what that means, and I've seen the box. So stay tuned.
I'm just really excited that we're like kind of changing things up and doing something fun.
Anyway, so so the anniversary did technically happen, but yeah, there will be an anniversary collection at the end of the month.
At the end of our anniversary month, yes.
That's right. Anyway, that is fun. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So we're vaccinated now, but what does that mean for us, Cristine? Life update. Are we all of a sudden? Are we getting on a plane and going somewhere? Am I getting that vacation? Are we going to start leaving the house? I've gotten very used to just like ordering food from restaurants and living a sort of, we're fortunate that we have a lifestyle where we don't really need to leave the house.
Living as an introvert. Yeah. And before we continue with this conversation, I just want to acknowledge that even though we remarked that Canada was behind the US in terms of vaccine availability, we also realize that there's a lot of other countries that are behind where we are in Canada that don't have access to vaccines yet.
Sure.
So I just want to acknowledge that like every part of the world is kind of moving forward at a different pace. And I hope that we can all unite in the future.
Okay. But
Sorry,
what are we
I just
doing?
had to say that. Okay.
We're not giving
I'm just thinking of everyone. What are we doing? Not much, I would say, because I feel like I have this prolonged anxiety after being inside for so long, which I normally am. Even before COVID, yes, I would go to the office. I'm like, how do I communicate anywhere? I would go to my office place. But aside from that, I didn't really go many places other than the gym or maybe some groceries. But I'm not the kind of person to go to a bunch of concerts. I don't travel very often except for some YouTube events or the Holo Taco Warehouse, which was maybe like once or twice a year. And then the occasional vacation. Yes. But I feel like ever since this all started, it hasn't been that hard for me to stay inside most of the time because I have so much to do in my house. I have multiple business-related things that I can run from home, which I'm lucky
and we've
fortunate
turned
to do,
most of the house at this point into
a
business space, right? Like
all of the bedrooms are offices.
Yeah, honestly, there's our bedroom where we sleep, and every other room in this house has turned into some function serving like YouTube or streaming or your office or something like that, right?
This podcast room is a bedroom. Fun fact.
Sure, and so is the stream room and then your office. Those are the other 3 rooms in this house.
It's a house fit for a family of YouTubers.
This is our content house.
Content house. It's the Holo house.
I'm gonna promote a cryptocurrency next.
Oh God.
I've been I'll leave the house to like pick up business mail and things like that. But like the main thing I do is just like get groceries.
You get us food.
Because I know early on people were I think that was my sort of excuse to leave the house. And I could tell myself that's an essential reason. But it really, just for me, I felt like I go a little more crazy if I'm never leaving the house. So yeah, I've been going to the grocery store. Actually, you want to hear a funny I don't think I told you this. I was at the grocery store a couple days ago, and I'm checking out. This young woman's checking through all my items, and she's just finishing up, and she goes, no bananas or oats.
Are you joking?
I just like burst out laughing.
She says nothing else except for that?
Well, I talked to her a bit after that, but I thought it was really funny that...
So why didn't you get bananas or oats?
Oh, you didn't put it on the list for me, I don't know.
It doesn't need to be on the list. It's a given.
You're just stockpiling it. I like that's funny. Like we wonder sometimes when we're out and about in Ottawa.
I'm not out and about in Ottawa.
So yeah, good point.
When Ben is out and about in Ottawa.
It's always you're not sure if like people recognize you sometimes, especially if they're in that demographic. So I kind of like it when someone kind of says something like that. Yeah. Other than like me, like just like looking at them and like I think they're looking at me like they know who I am, but I don't really know. But anyway, this girl would have she could confirm that I was buying a lot of hummus though. So it's not just a meme. She cashed through like
How many tubs, Ben? How many tubs? 4? 5?
It was 5 this time.
Was it all
Although
the store
I
had?
messed up. One of them was baba ganoush. I got it by accident because it comes in the same container.
You got to leave some for others. You know, it's really not fair.
I try not to clear it out.
You can't have a monarchy of hummus.
Monopoly?
Not the hummus king.
I am the hummus,
You're the hummus
king.
Queen. Hummus queen. Sorry, Monopoly and monarchy. No.
Also, just like I know this is probably boring to some, but like I think about this a lot.
I know.
But the time I used to buy hummus from somewhere else, I've even told this story on like one of the first podcasts we did. I used to get hummus from a health food store.
And then they stopped.
And it was really good. And like they're a smaller place. They'd only have like 4 to 6 tubs at a time on the shelf.
Mm-hmm. So you put them out
And
of
I would go in there and I would buy every one they have and leave. And I went back in there one day and I said, hey, where's the hummus? Like there wasn't a space for it on the shelf. And she told me they weren't selling enough of it. She told me that.
And you were like, you're lying.
To this day, like that pops into my brain, and I'm like, I don't understand how they could have said that to me.
Maybe if you committed to a minimum purchase order per month, they would be willing to make it work if it worked with their profit margins. But I feel like you'd have to negotiate with that and give them some kind of advance payment.
Do you think maybe they weren't making enough money on the hummus?
Yeah.
So that's like...
so they would need to meet a minimum number in order to make it worth it for them. You just need to know what that minimum number is.
But I was buying all they were making. So you think maybe they just maybe that's an item they don't make money on, but it's like to entice people to buy other more and you were buying nothing except
items. Hummus, so you were not a good customer to them.
Maybe. That's couldn't they just tell me that?
Well, no, they're not going to tell you. We don't have a good enough
just
profit
raise
margin.
the price of your hummus then.
I guess you could.
I really could just be making this myself, whip out the food processor,
Yeah, why
some
don't you
tahini.
just do that? No, actually don't.
I think
then our
I
whole
would just
kitchen will
eat.
smell like hummus.
I would eat way more.
Please,
than I
please do not
currently
take upon another hobby of making hummus. in
Okay,
our
this
kitchen.
turned into the hummus stream. But yeah, I guess all I was saying is like the grocery store is where I have been going. I don't know if I could picture myself like I've been walking. We've been going on walks a little bit, right? And like we walk by like patios and stuff. I don't know. I'm not there yet. And I think a lot of people maybe feel this way. I think a lot of people felt that like relief of like finally I can go out to these sorts of places.
Yeah, I feel like you're either one or the other. You're either like, thank God the government has lifted the restrictions. I'm going to meet all my friends on the patio. Or you're like, just because they lifted the restrictions doesn't mean it's safe. I'm going to stay right here where I'm comfortable.
Yeah, and it's almost like gonna have to learn how to not be like super anxious around people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't take that long to completely like change my perception of what it feels like to be in a crowd of people.
It didn't take that long to forget how to be a human being.
We're just animals.
I don't know how to communicate anymore. I feel like I'm a good communicator on Twitter. You know, I've definitely improved my tweeting skills,
you?
my replying skills,
don't know about
my
that.
Instagram story reposting Snapchat skills. But as for in-person live communication, I struggle.
Okay. I do miss like what's the joke? I want to go on vacation. I still want to go on vacation. I would like to go places. Like right now we can't. Right now there are restrictions on traveling still. I mean, there should be. I get that, right? I guess the
From
word
Canada.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the coming back into Canada is probably the hard part. There's still like mandatory quarantine rules like that, and
Yeah, I've seen. I guess the thing is, we're not even entirely sure because the rules kind of change and it depends. But I have seen some saying, oh, they'll be lifted if you can provide proof of this. But it depends on where you land, which airport. Like, I don't really know. I think for me, I don't even want to think about traveling until it is easier to travel. Like, the idea of any kind of, what about this, what about this, what about this makes me nervous. So I'd rather just like wait until everything is open. I guess that's just me.
Yeah.
Is that how you kind of feel?
well, yeah, for us, I think being vaccinated was probably the main thing. But yeah, I guess there's other factors in play, right? Like we could argue that we have business reasons to travel. Pretty sure if we made the case and followed the rules, we could be traveling right now if we wanted to.
I'll just show them the Holo website and be like, see that? I need to go there.
But yeah, I guess there is some word that people who just want to travel to Canada for non-essential reasons, when that is a thing, I think they'll have to just show that they are vaccinated. So that will be really interesting to see how different countries handle that. In terms of like where it would be nice, like I guess there's a lot of trips within Canada we could do. Again, for me, there's still sort of this thing about like, do I really want to be in an airport? Do I want to get on a plane? We could just get in a car and drive to like the East Coast or something.
I get car sick. It's
Yeah, car sick. Well, you're no fun. Maybe I'll go without you. But
No, we need groceries.
you'll be okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like Banff. We've already talked about going to Banff again.
Yeah.
That would be fun, especially in the warmer months.
It'd be really nice weather right now, but I don't think, like, I'm not ready right now to go on a plane,
Yeah, good
if
point.
I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. But I guess if we can just think a little bit about it.
If you wanna imagine.
Yeah, if you want to, well, there's places I think we will want to go soon once things are a little bit more lifted, right? Like we're going to go to the Holo Taco warehouse.
Yeah, once
sure,
the
right?
border restrictions are lifted and pretty clear, at least to the extent that like you can go and come back easily. We're definitely going to go to the Holo Taco warehouse. That's in the New York, New Jersey area. It's been a long time since I've been there.
Yeah.
It's been a long time and a lot of Zoom calls with the team over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been team members added there that I've never met in person because that's how long it's been. So I would really like to actually meet people in person.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a strange thing. And then just on a more fun note, like Sophia and Tyler moved to North Carolina. Rob and Corinne are still there. You know, I think that would be a fun trip to go to North Carolina some point in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in terms of more local trips, I think if I'm warming up to this idea of air travel eventually, we should probably visit my family. I haven't seen most of my family who lives in like Toronto, the GTA, which is maybe 4 or 5 hours from where I am, since 2019. Since like Christmas 2019, because that's the last time I would have seen them. And then, Corona happened in early 2020. So I basically haven't seen most of them since then. So that's probably going to be our first trip. We'll be driving. It'll be within the same province. But like we'll be going and staying somewhere other than this house, which we have not done for that long. So that's already a big step for me.
Yeah, I feel like it would be harder if if you had kids and your grandparents had never met that baby yet or something. Like I bet there are a lot of people going through like really hard times with like family separation. So I'm not trying to like diminish it, but I feel like we're not in a scenario where it's like, oh my God, I haven't seen your dad in 2 years.
I'm surviving without my dad as a 32-year-old. Just to be clear, yeah. But I mean, like, regardless, I think people can still relate.
Sure,
that even if they're older and they're not dependent, on their family, it's still weird to have not seen them in person for almost a year and a half.
And you have some older relatives too, right?
Yeah, both my grandmas are 90 or more.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen them since 2019, so it will be important to go see them.
Maybe I'm weird about this because like my parents live in Australia, so I'm used to going long periods of time without seeing them, because that's a significant trip to. Yeah,
and I'm used to not seeing my family on a like super regular basis. I'd say on a holiday basis is when I would travel back, because they're 5 hours away for the most part. But definitely not going like a year.
Well, like they're a 5-hour car ride. So
sorry.
like a half-hour flight. Well,
we don't fly. We drive.
We drive to Toronto, but yeah, just to give people some context. Yeah, because I haven't seen my parents in longer than that.
Do you miss your parents?
Yeah.
I feel like that was performativity there. Is that the social desirability answer?
I talked to them online. And
on Skype?
I don't know. I'm not like... this is a weird topic. I don't have like a family relationship where like we're getting together all the time, like super, tight in that way. I don't know. Is that weird?
I think everyone has a different family scenario. Like, I'm not super, super close with my entire family either. I feel like I was pretty independent at 17. It was just like, see y'all later, bye. Like, I just went away to university at 17 and was happy to be away and not looking forward to going home. Like, my peers were definitely homesick. I was not. It just kind of depends on you. And so you're closer to me, but I think even more on the extreme, because for the last 20 years of your life, you've been used to not seeing at least your dad because he lives in Australia, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to make it sound like I'm alienated from my parents. It would be nice to see them. It would be nice if we could all get together somewhere.
But he works in Australia and you live here. That's all.
Yeah. I think I'm just more used to them not living in the same place as me, so it didn't feel as crazy.
It didn't. Well, yeah.
It was interesting hearing from them. I'll keep in touch with them, and Australia, it was much easier to. They didn't have a lot of COVID, right? And it was a big deal if they had any sort of community spread of it.
Right?
Exactly. It helps if you're an island. That's why people would hear a lot about New Zealand in the beginning as being like a model country for maintaining it. It's like, I kind of get it, but you can't compare New Zealand to the US, right?
Do you know, did they ever go into a form of lockdown?
I can't remember. I think at the very beginning they went very strict. Particularly on the travel. Yeah.
But not necessarily their ability
But no, I think from contact tracing and everything, because it's not like it was possible to completely keep it out, especially at the beginning, right? But I think there are some examples of countries that went extreme with their measures at the beginning, and that really worked out in the long run. I think Canada's a bit of a weirder example where we've kind of gone through these waves, a lot of waves of and that's been incredibly frustrating, I think, for small businesses and a lot of employees, that it's just things are open, things aren't open. Half of the things are open, all of the things are open, nothing's open again.
It's you have to check the internet to find out what the hell you're allowed to do that week.
It's kind of been botched. And I almost, thinking back to the very beginning of this, what did we think? Maybe it would be crazy for a couple months. People would be extremely locked down, and maybe that would just be it,
would go
right?
away. But I feel like I don't know if that would have completely resolved it in the way that we were all hoping, right?
Well,
I don't
no.
really know.
No, and like it is sort
You
of
still
a
have to be
global
careful,
problem, right?
yeah.
Unless you're literally going to completely shut yourself off from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. Maybe border restrictions, being more aggressive about that would have made more sense early on. That's definitely what the province was trying to blame the federal government of Canada on,
Yeah, but
right?
they're all kind of blaming each other.
Oh, of
for their
course.
own, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just stayed home, okay? I wear my mask, stayed home, and got vaccinated when I was eligible and able to do so.
Anyway, this got a lot less fun. What else is going on in our world, Christine? What have you been up to lately? You just showed up on, you were on a big stream the other day. Do you want to tell people about that?
Yes, I am a streamer.
Well, Christine has been streaming a bit on YouTube, but
Yeah.
you had made a video on YouTube a little while ago, noticing that a lot of like male streamers on Twitch are painting their nails now, and you sort of made a funny little video, sort of giving them pointers on how they could do a better job of painting their nails.
All in good fun, you know?
Yeah, but
I'm not telling them what to do, but I also, gave some tutorials.
and one of them reached out to you. Hasan Piker runs the Twitch channel Hasanabi, right? Some people might know him. His uncle, Cenk Uygur, I think that's how you say that, created the Young Turks, which is like an OG, like left-leaning political commentary news show on YouTube that I think a lot of people might remember. It's still around, but like it was kind of like early YouTube news show. And I think Hasan kind of got memed as like woke bae.
Yeah.
As like, he's a very left-leaning progressive guy who I guess is tall and muscular. So he kind of got turned into like a sex symbol.
Conventionally, yeah.
But anyway, like he has a stream where he got kind of like mainstream famous in the lead up to the 2020 election.
That's when I discovered him.
Is
if I'm
it?
being honest. Yeah, I'm exactly that demographic of people. I'm like the ladies in their 30s who stumbled upon him around the election. And I didn't have access to American news as easily. And I found it easy to watch someone like him watch American news. And I was really interested in what someone like him, his opinions were about what was unfolding during the election. As a Canadian, I'm not constantly in American news, although we hear about it a lot here. But I found it pretty cool to watch someone close to my age with a huge social media platform, like talk about it, like as if he was talking to his friends, like what the fuck is going on with this guy, or you know what I mean? And just be so open and honest while also educating his followers, but being like cool about it. I don't know how to say this. Like, he's not preaching. To me, he doesn't preach at all.
I mean, he has his opinions and strong positions he holds, and he doesn't try to hide his sort of political leanings, right? Which I think is part of his appeal. Even if you don't agree with, even if you're not so communist, even if you don't advocate for communism, you could still watch him. But I think what he really proves is people are starved for
like a realistic,
real
breakdown.
Conversations about politics, right?
Yeah.
Because if you watch like a typical like CNN broadcast compared to like some guy in his bedroom just sort of reacting to news as it's emerging, it's just a night and day difference. And I think people are just starved for just like a more authentic commentary on the news. And on election night, I think he had like, what do you have, like 60,000 concurrent viewers?
No, it was like 200.
Was it way more than that? Okay.
Yeah, I remember him announcing and being like, holy shit, this is the most I've ever had people watching me. 200,000 live viewers at the same time is a huge number for people to be there.
Yeah, people might not even understand that, right? Because like YouTubers with millions of subscribers, when they live stream,
it's like
might have like a
10,
few thousand people.
A few thousand people.
To have like tens of thousands of people routinely.
100,000.
But I'm just saying on any given night, he might have, 30,000 people tuning in to watch him just react to things or watch the news. And I think these streamers are really interesting because they're kind of like the amount they stream, I think, has a lot to do with their appeal. And it really makes me wonder who the viewers of this are. I can't really picture it in my head because these people are streaming like 5 days a week for like 8-hour spans. And there's a huge audience of people. Like, I guess maybe it just turns over and maybe it's not the same person watching that whole 8 hour stream necessarily. But I think it really is sort of pulling at something people really want right now, which is just like kind of just like hanging out
It's
with
like
someone
joining
else
in.
on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the desire for that has increased post COVID, because I admit, like, as a viewer, although I don't think I'm a good representation of his average viewer, but like I'll turn it on when I realize that he's streaming after 2 p.m. my time and just leave it on as I'm typing something up, as I'm working, as I'm swatching. Just because I'm like, oh, I heard about this in, on the news on Twitter, but I'd really like to see what Hasan has to say about it. Or even if I didn't know what he was doing today, I just turn it on because I don't have anything else to put on. And I like, hearing his thoughts and watching that. So I think more people are turning on that kind of stuff as ambient background streaming, which we've kind of talked about in the past. But I'm proud of this or the younger generation for choosing content like that to put on, because you do learn. Even though like your intention isn't to learn about politics with Hasan today, like you might just think he's a cool guy for whatever reason, right? Or you think he's like kind of edgy maybe. But you turn it on, you're going to learn some shit. So
sure.
That's why I put it on.
The only caution I'd make, and I've said this before about people like, I think we were talking about DeFranco at this point, that as great as those people are, they aren't a substitute for primary journalism. Like, so even him, like you were watching him watching news shows, and like you're hearing a real person react in like a non-scripted, I'm a newsman sort of way to stories. And sometimes he's just reacting to like open source public journalism too, right? Or just like tweets or just news as it's breaking. But I guess I every time we talk about this, I'm always reluctant not to. I always want to acknowledge the fact that you still want reporters on the ground doing.
I don't think
doing
anyone's
work.
saying that you should only ever watch Hasan for what's going on in the news.
But there are big concerns
That's what
about
I mean.
the how journalism is being paid for right now, and how we just end up with these giant media conglomerates owning all the sources of news you're hearing about, right? Or the fact that we're getting less and less local news, which is often the source of these stories at the outset. So as great as it is that we're seeing these hugely successful people who just aggregate and react to the news, like all the success being channeled into those people on the react side, I really don't want to ignore the lack of sort of investments being made into journalism before it gets to the point to which people can just react to it.
Yeah, I totally see your point though. There, like without those primary news sources, he wouldn't have that content to react to. So it's important that both mediums are supported in some way.
And I think Twitch is still sort of at a stage in its life as a platform where it hasn't had to reckon with
Copyright?
well, I know it has to some degree, and like people's streams get taken down if they're playing copyright music, and that's sort of happened in waves and stuff. But right now, there's a ton of content on Twitch of people watching other people's content, and I guess the argument is that it's protected under fair use. I feel like there's a lot of gray area there, and you can get away with a lot on Twitch that you can't get away with on YouTube. And I think as Twitch matures as a company and its valuation grows and it wants to become more corporate and brand friendly and make more money from advertisers, I think we'll increasingly start just looking like YouTube, and that will mean people like Hasan probably can't just watch Fox News for hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really interested to know like how that's going to unfold.
Yeah.
Like as a viewer, I selfishly hope that he can continue to watch CNN or Fox News, ironically, indefinitely, so I can see his real-time takes on it.
Sure.
But I also understand if the networks are like, this is our content, and you are not transforming it enough, or you're using it in its entirety so much so that it's no longer fair use. I'm not a lawyer on fair use, but I have seen, in my own experiences with using Troom content, and making sure it's transformative enough to make into a YouTube video. Like I have some basic content creator level understanding of where I think that line is and it's appropriate. And I think the standards are just very different right now on YouTube versus Twitch.
Yeah, so the laws vary by country, But like some of the core factors are, like, yeah, is it transformative? How you're using their content? Is it educational?
And are you
doing
taking
it for
away from the
profit?
original? I think that's the biggest point here.
Yeah, and there's a few like landmark lawsuits that sort of help identify these rules, right? But yeah, if he has, more than 100,000 people watching him watch a news channel, and if he's just watching it and not saying much, I think there is a lot of I wouldn't be surprised if like we'll see more challenging of this system, right?
And again, like that's just so hard because there's some streamers who I've observed honestly not say much. I feel like someone like him, generally speaking, has a lot to say. Like he constantly pauses and offers commentary. But maybe it depends on the day.
And you
maybe
could argue
it depends
the
on
news
content,
stuff
yeah.
has like an educational component. Like to think of a society where, people can't publicly comment on the news. Obviously, that sounds crazy, right?
Yeah, that's not what we're saying at all. We're more so questioning like the
turning it
ability
into
to
for-profit
monetize
content is basically the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a very long way of
Anyways,
introducing
I
the
was
fact
on
that
his stream.
yeah. So he reached out to you. Right? How did this come together? So you had made that video about streamers painting their nails.
So I noticed that he painted his nails a couple months ago on his stream because I actually watch him since the election. So I'm like, damn, he's painting his nails. Let me use that for content. Him and other streamers. Yeah. So I just kind of compiled it. I didn't ask his permission for that, but like I obviously knew he wouldn't mind given that, he reacts to content all the time.
Sure.
So I did that, and then after that he noticed that I did it because he reacted to me reacting to his nail painting on his Twitch stream. And then like my subscribers were in his chat, I think, at that time, and they were all like, yay, Simply, and suggesting to him that he should collab with me. And then he DM'd me one day and was like, hi, do you want to help me paint my nails on stream? And I said yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
What was this, like just a few days ago, right? When did this happen?
Like a week ago. Well, yeah.
It was like a weeknight. I remember you had like work the next day, and it was kind of late because he streams for like hours and hours, right?
Yeah, it was a Monday. Yeah, he was like, hi, can you do it today? And I was like, yeah, just let me know. Can we kind of pick a time so I know? And I also needed to make sure it was like after work hours.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah. And then I had to set up a Discord, like just make sure I had a profile so he could even show my camera. So I literally had to learn Discord that day so I could figure out how to join because he doesn't use Zoom and I'm used to Zoom. But I didn't know Discord. So
anyway,
details that don't matter, but yeah.
But yeah, so you went on a stream and coached him paint his nails? Is that how to put it?
Yeah, so for 2 hours.
Yeah, it was a while.
It was 2 hours. Well, that's because we kept getting interrupted and talking about random shit that wasn't related to nails. But he did have me on primarily to teach him to narrate how to paint his nails. And then we talked about other random stuff. We talked about like crime in Canada because lately he's been doing a lot of JCS criminal psychology react videos, which if you guys remember on this podcast months ago, well before he started reacting to them and it became like a streamer trend.
A lot of people are doing this.
A lot of people are doing it now. But months ago, I remember telling you guys on this podcast that I was really into those videos and I'd watched every single video on the JCS criminal psychology YouTube channel. They make great content. It's mostly like police interrogation with a bit of narration about certain criminal cases. And it just so happens that quite a few of the ones that the channel chose to feature are based on homicide cases in Ontario.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like they chose those ones. But because of that, Hasan decided that murder only happens in Ontario. Obviously, like he's joking. But he just kind of went with that joke. So I had to tell him that that's actually not what the statistics say. The homicide rate is lower in Ontario than it is in America or any state in America.
Yeah. I think that stream's still up if anyone wants to watch it, right? You could watch the VOD after the fact.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to tell you how to find things on Twitch. So you'd have to, if you Google it somehow, I think you'll find a way there. Someone else will have figured out how to.
Or him and what a lot of people do, like they'll stream on Twitch, but then re-upload content to YouTube sometimes. And sometimes that's not even the content owner, right? Like other people will clip his work and upload it to YouTube as well.
Yeah.
But people should be able to find it if they're interested.
But yeah, if you want to find the whole stream, I would go to his Twitch channel, Hasanabi, and then it's from a week or two ago. It was on a Monday. But his streams are 9 hours, so you have to like go to the very end.
Yeah, good luck.
Like the last one.
You know what's the funny is like I think leading up to it, we weren't sure how it was gonna go, right? Because he has a interesting audience that have a lot of inside jokes and memes they know. Kind of like a lot of creators have audiences that really have that sort of community and language and vocabulary they all know. So I don't think we really knew how his audience would respond to you. And the funny thing to watch, so like I was watching in another room, I was going between like Amaranth and your feature, but like his stream was like he sometimes like gets angry at them. You know what I mean?
That's like his thing, though.
He sort of like scolds them as if they're his children, and it was actually kind of like uncomfortable during parts of his stream because he was like getting really mad at his viewers. And then like as soon as you came on, everything was like positive. And they were like,
yeah, I know. His chat all of a sudden like behaved.
Almost like they were just like wanting
Respectful.
him to be like polite to a guest sort of thing. It was really interesting to see that sort of switch flip.
Maybe it was the Canadian energy that I brought to the chat.
Maybe.
But yeah, his chat on a frequent basis just like insults him constantly. And it's part of the joke. Like it's not, I don't think they actually hate him. I think that's part of the
Maybe. I
relationship.
think some of them do.
But then I came on and they were much more like endearing. They were interested. They were doing like heart teddy bear emojis and like I don't know, like shit that you normally don't see. They weren't hating
Those
him.
might be coded messages, but I think it is interesting that they're almost like they like getting mad at him in a way, but it was almost like they were ready to get mad at him if he wasn't really polite to you. That was kind of the read I had on it. And also, let's be real, like you're not. He'll have like political debates with people. He's really well educated in like political science and like, you work for the Canadian government, so you're not going to just like drop a bunch of hot takes.
Nope. There will be zero takes.
You are interested in politics, but are you ready to have a conversation about like political theory? Like that's not really your...
No, unless it's more like crime and justice related, because that is actually my education and background. So I feel like I have more confidence to be able to speak on those subjects. But if it's just more generally about like international policy, that's just not going to be for me. Yeah. I think he understood that. Like that's not why he had me on.
Totally.
Yeah.
And he was really, I was very, I thought he was very respectful of the fact where like occasionally a few things came up and you could tell like you weren't comfortable talking about them, and he was going to move on. He wasn't going to try to corner you, right?
Yeah.
Which is always a nervous thing, is like being live with someone you don't really know all that well.
Yeah. Wasn't I on live stream, Pales? We don't have to go there. But
Let's not bring that
I
up.
remember like, yeah, I'm just... It was a learning experience for me to go on a stream of that size, because my streams aren't that size also, right? And I also was entering someone else's platform, someone else's domain on a live basis, which is something I've never done before. So retroactively, I'm like, that should have been way more scarier than it actually was. But I actually had a lot of fun.
You weren't nervous? You seemed a little nervous on the stream.
Like a little, but like in the first 5 minutes, I think I was nervous. But then once we got to painting nails, I kind of was like, this is my game. This is my chat now.
I can speed run this.
He went away to like go get nail polish or something, and I just like started talking to the chat. Like it was my chat. I'm just like, you like Holo?
I don't know, yeah, there were enough people there who knew you, I guess.
That was I think one of the most fascinating things is when I came on, I noticed how vocal the chat was about like simply, oh my god, like people, we have overlap, which is really weird to me, right? Because he does a totally different show than I do. I'm like nail girl, 100 layers of polish mountain with occasional funny videos, half for nail painting, half for whatever.
Family friendly,
but like also cool,
But I think you've shifted a little, like with this podcast and what you're doing on the streams now. I think it's sort of evolving a little bit beyond what like Simply videos and what sort of audience that was capturing to some degree, right?
I'm definitely interested in having more real conversations, if that makes sense, which we've definitely done on this podcast. Like I've never before talked about sponsorships or, the details of that kind of stuff before this podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty clear, I think, to anyone paying attention that, you've been only streaming a few weeks now, but just watching you on those streams, you're clearly you're getting something out of it that I don't think you're getting from other, pre-made and edited content creation. And it's sort of refreshing and nice to see, I think.
I think what I like about streaming is the immediate conversational aspect with my audience. Whereas if I'm filming a Simply video, I go to the basement, I have a bit of an outline, and I'm just sitting there by myself, turning on the camera, and I'm like, hello! But like literally no one's there as I'm doing it. Yeah. And I know that sounds so dumb because I should be used to it, and it's just like acting, the camera presses record, so perform. But I've been doing it for so long that I just kind of... I don't want to hear my own voice in editing. Also,
so it's nice with a stream. You don't have to watch it.
It is
back.
nice.
Yeah.
But I think more importantly than that is I feel like I have more of a purpose because I can literally see people in the chat there with me as I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing. Whereas when I film a Simply video, I'm filming it the week before it's going to be up. So I feel like there's no connection until once I post the video and then there's comments, but I'm not there.
Yeah, there's no immediacy to it. And I think you'll talk to a lot of big YouTubers and they'll describe with a lot of fondness like when they were a smaller channel that was just getting big, because there was still more of an audience connection, I think, there. Mm-hmm. And then I think you'll often hear from people who get millions of subscribers that you kind of lose something at that point, even though you gain often a lot of like financial success and success as measured by those sort of numbers. Mm-hmm. But I think streaming kind of brings you back to a place of like, oh, the people who are going to show up here are like that smaller segment of my audience who I actually want to have more of that exchange with.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And I recognize people, right? Like when people comment in my YouTube live chat, I recognize their channel name because it's the same on Twitter or something. And I can respond to their questions right there. Or they tell me, do this to your nails, or can I see Menchie, or whatever it is. And I really like that immediate feedback, and I just like that the expectations also allow me to just be more, like natural's the wrong word to use, because I don't want to suggest like I'm not being natural in my other videos, but I feel like if you're crafting and editing a YouTube video to be published as like a compact 15-minute adventure, it really needs to have like an intro, a story. Here's what we did. Here's the outcome. Here's what I think of it. That's kind of just how you craft it in like storytelling. Whereas with a stream, it's just about like, yeah, you need content. You need to know what you're doing for the day. But a lot of it is directed by the chat, which is like what they want to see, what their reaction is, how something worked out. I don't know how it's going to work out until I do it. And I've just been enjoying that more, which is something I never thought I would, because I've always thought I was more of an anxious person. And I'm sure that you guys can find a clip of me somewhere, like from years ago, saying I would never go live.
Yeah,
there's
probably.
For sure some, but you know what? People change and decide that they want something different, or they discover that like maybe things aren't so bad, or they change their minds. And I definitely agree with you about kind of using my second channel, which is where I'm streaming on Simply Not Logical, to have a somewhat smaller audience and be able to see the chat and react to those people. It just feels like a little, like a hollow circle,
A little sock squad.
Sock squad.
All right. Well, apologies to Pokimane. Is that how you say it?
And her cat.
And her cat lives like a
queen.
Yeah.
I want to be her
goddess.
cat. I would collab with her cat.
Not with her, just a cat.
No, I'm just, that would sound
Menchie
mean.
and the cat.
That's not what I meant.
What's your cat's name? Like Butters or something?
No, I don't remember.
Butterscotch?
But I was watching one of her streams where she had like her room tour.
Yeah.
And she showed her cat's like catio. And I just wanted to know like about that cat's life.
Well, she's got like this like luxury cat furniture too.
As the cat should.
We looked at it after.
Like, where do I buy this?
Yeah, should we get this?
Does she have any affiliate links?
We spoil our cats too, but not like that, right?
Damn.
We should. Menchie's mad. But yeah, sorry, we were going to have her on, but we ran out of time. Maybe next time on Twitch. Maybe your next Twitch collab. Who would you want to? You've watched some Twitch now.
I have been watching more Twitch, but like I don't really use Twitch. I just put it on like a regular person without subscribing to anyone because I don't actually have an account.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe there's more streamer. I don't know. Maybe you should get to know more streaming people.
I don't want to name anyone because then people will
puts
go to that
public
person
pressure
and
on
it
them.
puts
Yeah,
pressure,
you're
and I
right.
don't want someone to feel like they have to collab with me. It's different when that person like reaches out to you and says, "Hey, are you interested?" So I wouldn't do that to anyone, but I'd definitely be open to doing a nail painting tour with people on stream.
Is that what you want to? Because like most people would just say like playing games with people on Twitch or
Yeah.
online is like
Except
the easy
I'm not
way.
good at games, but I'm good at nails.
Okay.
I could learn games. I
Is
think
there,
I'm
is
gonna
there a
start
nail
figuring-
painting video game?
Yeah, they suck though. We've tried that.
Yeah, they're like mobile games, right?
They're like for 6-year-olds.
Why don't we make one? How come you never made an app?
I don't.
Didn't
know
Cute
that.
Polish do that? What was it called?
Polish Blast?
Polish Blast. Yeah, she made like a Candy Crush style
But that's
game.
not a game
with
you
nail
stream. That's like it's like Candy Crush. You don't stream.
Yeah, I don't think you
Does
would
anyone
watch-
stream Candy Crush?
Probably. There's people stream everything
Okay.
and anything. That doesn't mean they should.
Well, let me know what streamers I should watch.
What streamers would I be friends with?
What? Yeah. Who do you see me being friends with? Comment down below.
I
in the
have no
video description
friends. I
box.
need
I need
friends.
friends. I would love to make more friends.
It's not,
Any
it's not
genre.
desperate at
You know
all.
what I'm learning? You know what I'm learning is that I should open up my eyes to watching and just talking with people who are outside of the genre you would expect me to work with. That's what
Yeah.
I should do more of.
Got to wake up. Let the conversation begin.
Make friends. Even if you don't think that you would have been friends in high school. You're 30 now. It's time.
Can't be friends with everyone. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in.
I hope everyone has a really happy Taco Tuesday.
That's right. Thanks so much for watching.
We'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.